G'day there guys, Connor here again, coming at you with some more Reddit stories. I'm rocking the fluoro hat today, hope you guys like it. Anyway, remember, one like is one crumb for Marky, and one comment, a sip of water. So, let's keep him hydrated, let's say. Anyway guys, let's go straight into it. Okay, this one was originally posted on Am I the A-Hole. It was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole if I break up with my boyfriend when this year marks the 10th anniversary of the death of his wife? There's too much to say, but I'll try to make it short. I'm using Google Translator for most of these things, sorry. In short, I, 34 female, have been dating Leon, 42 male, for 2 years. My uncle became friends with Leon when they started working together, and he started coming to family gatherings and birthdays. Leon is a great guy, and we get along instantly. My family always talked to me about Leon, saying he's a great guy. One day, Leon asked me out on a date, and I said yes, and we started dating. Leon has 2 children, 14 male and 12 male. His wife died in an accident 9 years ago. Here comes the problem. Leon always talks about his wife. I know it sounds ugly to complain about it, but I don't say it with jealousy. I mean it uncomfortably. He mentions her in intimate moments of our time, such as when we finish having intimacy or when we're having a date. Sometimes he just starts telling me random anecdotes about his wife, and I just sit there feeling like if I'm sleeping with a married man and if I'm the side piece. I don't ask for much, just to have a date where it's just me and him. A date where I don't feel like someone's lover with a man who talks about the things we like. He goes to the psychologist, so according to him he's working better on his grief, but I doubt it very much. I'm not the first girlfriend he had after his wife passed away. He still has contact with his wife's family, which is obvious, they're the grandparents of his children, and I've met them in person only one time because all they did was tell me how much Leon and his wife loved each other and treated me really bad. I remember that they put a video with photos of Leon and his wife when they married while I was like this, because they didn't even give me a chair to sit. I think in their minds it's cute to me to see my boyfriend with his wife. I don't know, it's not cute, it's weird. He always says in front of me that she was the love of his life. I find it cute, but when I think about the future, I'm just like, I really want to get old with a man who's making it clear that he will never love me? Is that the kind of love I want? I want to be the only one for my future husband. One time I took him to my favourite place and he just said, "It's beautiful. I wish my old wife was here so we could show her this. You two would have been good friends." It's like being a third wheel in my own relationship. I can tell a lot of situations like these, a lot. We talked about this. Most of the times he just says that he does that without thinking, but then he seems to forget about it and goes back to his usual behaviour. And I'm tired. The only one time I talked about this with my family, I was only told that a real woman wouldn't be jealous of a dead woman. I'm not jealous, I'm uncomfortable, and would be happy to be with a man who has loved another woman like that and expect him to love me almost the same. But I shouldn't expect him to love me in the same way, since all love is different, and that I should just be empathetic and supportive of him. I listened to them, but nothing got better. I've been feeling so much pressure to go through with this that I can't take it anymore. Anyways, I stopped listening to my family and finally talked with my friend who's a psychologist, and they told me that his behaviour is not healthy for anyone and that I should think for myself. She texted, "Good for him for loving his wife so much, but you don't deserve to be used as an emotional support doll." And she's right. I've decided to cut off the relationship, but this year marks 10 years since the death of his wife, not only his family. Even my family is helping them to host a family reunion in honour of her with the things she likes. I think it's a nice thing to do, but I'm totally ready to end the relationship, but I'm afraid I'm the bad guy in this story. The 10-year anniversary is in July. I want to end the relationship now, but I fear that I'll be a POS if I do that in this year when he's so vulnerable, and even my family is pushing me to act like if I was his wife's best friend. He even says that his wife and I would be good friends if we'd met. Why would you want your wife to be friends with the woman you're sleeping with right now? It's too weird. I think I'm insane because everyone around me sees it as something cute. In short, I don't know if I should break up with him right now or wait until, I don't know, next year. Would I be a POS if I break up with him now? Oh no, well Opie's got her reasons and there's never a right time to break up with someone like this. I mean, it's going to be super inconvenient no matter when you do it, right? Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. Every year will be an anniversary of his wife's death. Not the a-hole. I'm not suggesting that he should forget about her or undermining his grief, but why get a new partner if all you're going to focus on is your late spouse? You deserve to be loved by someone like Leon loves his deceased wife. Not the a-hole. Ultimately, waiting just prolongs the misery for you and continues to delay his grief recovery. Your family and her family continuing to support keeping her front and centre in his life are not helping matters, and while they'll all likely say you're wrong to do this, none of them have to live with being third place in their own relationships. In my head, the conversation starts something like this. I'm sorry, Leon, but this just isn't working for me anymore. I'm always feeling like a stranger or an outsider in my own relationship, and that's not healthy. We can't even share an intimate moment without you bringing your late wife into the conversation, and it's been absolutely hurtful. I'm sorry, but I simply can't continue. I will also probably be skipping family gatherings because I suspect everyone will hate me for doing this too. Unfortunately, I really don't see any way to get through this. I wish you the best of luck and hope that you find peace someday. Not the a-hole. Stop worrying about timing things for him. Why should you waste any more time on a relationship that is not working for you? The sooner you break up, the sooner everyone can move on. He will never love you enough. His deceased wife's family will never accept you or any woman. They will poison his kids against you no matter how hard you try. But the bottom line is, he is not emotionally available. He has not gotten over the wife. Don't do this to yourself. Just tell him you're sorry but the relationship is not working for you and block him. Short and to the point without going into detail. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best avenue here. Opie adds a couple comments. He goes to therapy and has even taken me many times to his wife's grave until I asked him not to take me anymore because I don't feel comfortable. I know he goes to visit her grave a lot. And yes, I think my family acts that weird because my brother goes through the same situation with his wife and they think I want the same thing. Someone asks, did you ask him why that relationship ended? Opie says, he told me that it was because his ex-girlfriend hated when he talked about his wife and didn't respect her memory. At the time I believed him, but now I think that the girl maybe was feeling like me. He once told me that he mistakenly called his ex by his wife's name. Phew, yeah, that'd be trouble. Okay, on to an update. A few people who lived the same situation messaged me, and that really helped me to feel understood. I finally talked with all of my friends about everything he did. I always avoided doing that because I knew they were going to tell me that I should leave him, but I just ended up being trapped by everyone else's words. We didn't love each other, and that's obvious even if he says he doesn't think so. Yes, I actually just posted to get approval. I don't know how bad that is, but I needed to know that I was doing the right thing, and that I'm not crazy before I said the truth to my friends. The next day, I finally talked to Leon. I really needed to break up at that point. He came to see me at my house, and I told him we needed to talk. I went straight to the point, saying I want to end the relationship, and he instantly asked me what he did wrong. We literally had this talk before, and he does know what things make me feel uncomfortable. I was tired, so I just proceeded to list everything he did. How he never defended me from his ex's in-laws. How he never made an effort to stop naming his wife all the time, even though I told him 1,000 times that it made me uncomfortable. How he makes me feel like I'm the third in my own relationship, etc. He apologized, saying the same as always, that he doesn't realize it when he does that. We've had this discussion before many times, but this time I told him I want to break up. I also told him that I don't think his therapist is helping, but Leon just said that he is helping him and feels mentally well. Leon told me that we could start going together with his therapist because he knows that, quote, it can be hard for a woman to be with a widower. Jealousy is a normal thing in these kind of cases. And that really triggered me. I've let both his and my family make me believe that I'm a crazy, jealous type. I've even let blogs about widower couples fill my head with things like, you just have to be empathetic, don't expect him to love you. He's always going to love his first wife more, so just get used to it and be a good woman. I've let myself be trampled on just because everyone told me that getting over a loss is difficult and I have to be empathetic and think about the other. I'm so damn tired of it. I'm tired of being empathetic. I've been dragging this thought for months, and in that moment, I just burst out. We yelled at each other. We said a lot of things to each other, but at the end of it all, he went on with his mentality that I'm wrong and I'm just jealous. He said that I clearly don't feel ready to date a widower, and I ended up being like his ex. I told him that he's a frickin' hypocrite, that he filled his mouth talking crap about his ex-girlfriend, but now I'm sure that he treated her like he treated me. He probably took a submissive woman to fulfill the void and took us as sex dolls. None of that echoed in his mind because he left my house saying I'm just jealous of a ghost, and I disappointed him. I'm fed up. I'm so angry while I write this. As soon as he left the house, I sent my mother a message saying that I'm not going to live the same life of my sister-in-law, living in the shadow of a woman who's no longer in this world, and they should have empathy for me and not for a man who's not even their family. I told her that I'm tired of being pressured, and I don't care if I die single. I'm sure they don't care about how I feel. In the end, they'll keep saying that I have a cold heart, like always, but I want to not care about that anymore. My friends are staying at my house to keep me company, and I can finally get all the accumulated crap out of my brain with them. I don't feel good being second, and I know I'll always be second. I don't want to replace the place of the first wife, and I know that even if I wanted to, I never will. I know a lot of people feel good with that kind of relationship, but not me. Maybe I'm really cold-hearted, but I'm surely not that empathetic. If his wife were alive, he would clearly never choose me. He wouldn't even look at me. I don't like that kind of love, and I really have a hard time accepting that I don't want that kind of love for myself. I feel that I'm still young, and I can wait for a man to have me as the first choice in his heart. I hope Leon can overcome his trauma and be happy, but not with me. Someone messaged me that I don't deserve his love, but what love are we talking about? I'm just a sex doll at this point. For now, he's not going to change and doesn't want to change, but that's not my business. I'm not a bedroom therapist anymore. I'd rather be single forever than falling again into that. I want to start more therapy and Pilates. I'm still obviously affected by all of this and nothing really changed. Nothing would change that fast, but I'm just happy that I'm free now. For now, I just wanted to vent, so sorry if everything sounds too aggressive. Okie dokie folks, and that's the end of that story. And fair enough, you can totally understand where Opie is coming from. It must be so frustrating if your partner's unwilling to prioritise you. I mean, that's what partners are for, right? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear them down below. Let's read a few final comments. Quote, I've let even blogs about widower couples fill my head with things like, quote, you just have to be empathetic, don't expect him to love you, he's always going to love his first wife more, so just get used to it and be a good woman. This is awful advice. Is the widower couples community normally this toxic? A commenter replies, according to my mother, yes, in some, at least back then. She was widowed when she was 29. She took her time to grieve and went to therapy. This is something we've talked about since my mum was always positive about us getting all the mental health support we needed. Anyway, she mentioned there are those who lost a spouse that would idolise their deceased partner. For my mum, she didn't think my dad was perfect. He was human and he had flaws, but she missed him because she loved him. It was so bizarre that the people she knew saw their deceased spouse differently, so she felt weird that she didn't stick to the widower group. Also, my mum said the annoyed feeling she had about my dad over silly things sort of faded over the years because he wasn't there to annoy her anymore, and she chose to hold on to the wonderful memories instead. It became just a sad memory of who he once was, a piece of the puzzle that made him whole. Edit, I talked to my mother about this after I saw so many replies. She kinda chuckled and said those with the most guilty conscience are usually the ones idolising their dead spouse, or the ones with extreme attachment issues, in which case she recommended therapy. If they were happy, they'd just remember them and miss them. They won't need a shrine or constant reminder that they cared about the ones they lost. It really made me see things differently because my mum's cousin recently lost her husband too, and she hardly ever spoke of her late husband. When her and my mum would chat on the phone, they'd talk about everything else. I think the most they've talked about his death was during the funeral, and after that the cousin just went about life. However, it never felt like she didn't miss her husband, because we know she does. The cousin and her late husband never had children. It was always just them, and they were each other's best friends. It was just that she never needed to justify her love, ever since she loved him with all her heart when he was here. So, she's had no regrets. It's baffling that the families can't tell the difference between jealousy and the full-on deification of a dead person they have going on. None of this man's behaviour is healthy, and he is surrounded by enablers. Makes me wonder what the OP's poor sister-in-law is being subjected to. This is going to sound kinda heartless, but I really don't mean it to be. I understand that losing the love of your life is the kind of fracture a lot of people probably can't come back from in their heart, but I think it's pretty clear that once you have decided someone else is going to get real estate there, you can't make them live in your deceased partner's home. If you can't treat your new partner as a distinct individual, separate from your deceased partner, with the full rights and privileges and heart space and brain space as your old partner, you are not ready to date. It's unfair to the new partner to make them share you, especially considering your relationship wouldn't exist in any other universe where they were still alive. You can't treat them as a replacement. You can't make them live in the shadow of the former partner. They have to be their own independent relationship that is given its own inked time and effort and energy and love. And this is kind of where the heartless comes in. If you've moved on to another relationship, you have to move on. Your time with your previous partner was valuable, special, filled with love and memories, but that time is over. That door has to close for you to move on to open a new one. This would be especially hard if you had children with them, because they will always serve as a lifelong reminder of the life that was taken from you. But if you're not able to incorporate the new person into your life as a whole human being and romantic partner in their own right, you have no business dating. Does that mean you have to be alone forever? I certainly hope not, but you can't force someone else to share the same space with your dead former spouse. It's just not fair. Yeah, some great insights and perspectives in the comments there. Anyway, let's move on from that one. On to another story. Okay, we're still on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user You Gonna Eat That Babe? And it's titled, I made a dumb joke about my boyfriend. Am I the a-hole? So I need the opinion of people not attached to me or him, but my boyfriend got mad at me on Sunday and he's been ignoring me since, so I feel like maybe I am the a-hole. So I'm female 35 and he's male 35, and we've known each other for 10 years and dated for 2. He knows how much I like writing books. I self-published a kids book last month and he's been really quiet about it. This past weekend at my family cookout, my father mentioned the book and how proud he is of me, but boyfriend walked inside saying he was grabbing our drinks. At the end of the day, my parents offered me some money to go to a book convention and the boyfriend audibly scoffed. On the way home, I asked what his deal was and he said that his job, he's a back-end software engineer, will provide for us and he'll let me have my fun as a creative for now, but I eventually have to grow up. I laughed because I assumed he was joking. He, of course, was upset and told me my meaningless book was objectively illustrated poetry. I shut down and he then was upset I was acting mad, so I changed the subject. He continued to make my book a topic by jokingly saying, my glorified illustrated poetry shows my middle child syndrome, or that I must crave mediocre attention from people. I shrugged and replied, hey, if you think you're mediocre, okay, and moved on. He texted me the next morning saying I tore him down and was being a bully, and he was kidding with me, and he hasn't at all responded to me since. I am away on a planned work trip and now I'm overthinking it maybe. Am I the a-hole? Wow, this guy sounds like a right prick. Like, illustrated poetry sounds pretty cool to me, and it has its place in the world, just like a back-end software engineer does. Honestly, if we're making fun of professions, that sounds like a made-up IT desk job. Way to contribute to the world, buddy. Sorry, I don't know why I got so mad about that. Let's check out the comments. Why does he think it's okay to jokingly tear you down? He sounds very immature and unsupportive. Is this someone you really want to hitch your wagon to? Not the a-hole. Please rethink being with someone who outright scoffs and puts you down regarding something you care about, and who tried to act like he was joking when you got upset about it. It won't get better. You can find someone else who isn't threatened by your endeavours. I wish you well. He's 35. He clearly doesn't want you to succeed with books. You need to ask yourself why that is. He sounds a lot like men I work with. They think they're God's gift because they deal with engineering and physics and computing. They all have girlfriends and wives who are not paid much and who are dependent on them. Based on the way these men talk, I have the following possibilities for you. Is it that your boyfriend doesn't want to share the spotlight, doesn't want you to be financially successful, resents that his work is not fun and yours is, or doesn't want you to spend time on a career because he thinks you should be at home catering to him? His comments were rude and unnecessary. I generally try not to tell people to break up because a short post here can't represent the complexity of the average relationship, but from what you've said, I'm tempted. This is a big deal, and you need to be very emphatic and insistent on resolving it. Quote, he will let me have my fun, for now. He's already decided that he has control over what you do and when. Plus, he's insulting you, then gaslighting you, then playing the victim. Look up Darvo and move on from this guy, not the a-hole. Yeah, I tend to agree with the comments here. What about you guys? Anyway, let's go to an update. Edit to say I'm calling him Chris here. Hey y'all, on mobile, but had to post this because what a time to be alive. I broke up with Chris a few hours ago. Boy howdy. He had ignored me for a full day, and I hadn't reached out to him because I was honestly fed up with his attitude. We've been together for 2 years, and I've never seen him act this way. I flipped-flopped between maybe he was having a bad day, or something was going on and he transferred his negative energy into my book, but no, he's just soggy, mouldy baby carrot that didn't think I had dreams of my own, or I would throw it away for him. Our mutual friends have told me that he had basically told them that I rubbed my success in his face and made him feel like a simp just following his girlfriend around being ignored when he has a successful business and has the higher paying job. He texted the day after his silent treatment that my not reaching out to him was a sign that I don't love him, and went on to say that I love my book more than I love him because I neglected him while working on it, and then I didn't praise him at the party as my biggest supporter. The rest of his paragraphs long text went on to talk about how he had the whole plan that he would marry me and we would be engaged this year, but, quote, then you started not listening to me to drop things and focus on us, our lives and our future, by taking up hobbies, and that my therapist poisoned me against him. I was diagnosed with depression this year, and therapy has helped me a lot. It hurt because I felt immediately like all I do is just rubbish to him. How the frick can you say that? I loved him so much because he was someone I thought I would be with forever. Guess not. I got angry and was texting him to ask, what makes you think I don't love you? I'd do anything for you. And just as I hit send, his new message popped up, and it said, you wrote your book, and you got your party. I assume now that I can finally have my girlfriend back, we can have a talk. I don't think you understand how I want our marriage to be, so I want to make things clear. But then he responded to my message, quote, are you kidding me? If you're not going to prioritize me over a book no one but you cares about, why am I even staying with you? I can go find a woman who supports her man and wants his career and dreams to be successful. So I said, alright, go find her. We clearly don't work. Best of luck. Him. Wait, are you breaking up with me? Me. What do you want me to do? You've made it clear I'm not what you want anymore. Him. You can't just break up with me. Me. Chris, please. Him. You can't just make that decision for me. You can't break us up like this. It's been 2 years. I say 2 years in which one thing I wanted to do, one thing I was proud of to have done, and you needed to crap on it. You've been so sour about it, and I don't get it. So get your better woman. He says, but you can't just break up with me. We have to talk. He calls. I decline. He says, pick up. You're being ridiculous. He shows up at my door, and the second I opened it, he tried to push in, but I hadn't let the chain lock on. He was screaming at me. He said I can't break up with him. It's been 2 years. How do I think it will go for me to try dating again after passing the expiration date for children? That's when I asked him to leave or I would call the police, and he said he'll never forgive me for this book as it's ruined me as a person, and for some reason I said, Chris, take your mediocre stick out of your mediocre ass and be on your mediocre way, and called my parents to tell them what happened. My mum is over now plying me with a mixed drink, and she's been making fun of the repeated, you can't break up with me line, as he said many times in text and a bunch in person. She said she was proud because I'm usually quite passive and she didn't like him bulldozing over me, and when I asked her what she meant by it, brought up a lot of things I never really thought about. Well, Chris would shoot me down a lot, and I honestly thought I was compromising for our relationship, but it seemed to some that I was just letting him speak for me a lot. 2 years. It feels like a blip and a lifetime at the same time. It's hitting me that it's over, and my mum is staying over with me, but I have many WTFs to deal with, just not tonight. Wow, that escalated quickly. Let's go to some comments. I love your mum. Oh honey, your ex-boyfriend just called to tell us about the breakup. I'm so proud of you. Here, let's have another drink. Opie says, Lamau, that was honestly kind of the vibe. I was so upset and called my parents because I tell them everything. My mum was just like, lock the doors and I'll be there in 20 minutes. and showed up with vodka and let me cry, but then I caught her smiling and was like, "What the F, mum?" And she admitted she was proud of me for dumping him, and glad she didn't have to go to jail because if I stayed with him after all of that, she would have to commit crimes, lol. Another comment says, "Your mum's cool. From now on, you know that if she doesn't like your partner, you really need to question that relationship. I'm happy you found your voice and used it. That dude was a total douchebag." Opie says, "She's been so frickin' smug after she reminded me that once she did speak up to me once I got mad at her. She's quoting a line from that animated Jackie Chan show, 'Never question uncle,' at me. LMAO. So from what I've gathered is he's a narcissist and can't fathom the thought of you having anything going on that's not focused on him. Literally me, and what I want. Me again, and because you won't conform to a submissive wife, focused on me. What a loser." Opie replies, "It's weird because he never hinted that I can recall that he was ever like this. We've got years of history, and I remember him being interested in things I liked and wanted to get involved in. Then my mum reminded me of my painting. I'm not a painter, Mum is, and a charity held a gallery event and the theme was something basic, and I was visiting Mum that week, and when I'm at hers and she's painting, I sit with her and drink and we chat. But that day I was in a mood, so Mum struck up an easel next to hers and patted the seat and we painted side by side. She loved my piece and had it submitted for the gallery event. It was a huge event, and Mum had a separate exhibit space, but my little basic painting was up in the entryway with a handful of others, and Mum pointed it out to Chris and he said it was good and we moved on. But at the end of the night, Mum followed us out and suggested Chris and I might want to take a photo of us next to my painting. He said no, so Mum took a photo of me for me and shared it with herself. Chris asked me not to post the photo, saying it was a cry for attention and looked desperate, and I was taking away from Mum's shine. So when my mum posted it, he was mad at me. Why did I give my mum the photo? Why did she post it? But he suspiciously shared a photo Mum took of him at the same gallery even, shaking hands with a businessman we ran into, stating how proud she was of his work. The more I talk with my mum even now, the more she seemed to pick up on things. I feel bad, but when I asked why she never said anything before, she said she had, but I'd gotten angry at her. I had. I can't even remember why. Someone says, "So glad you dumped him." Opie says, "Me too. I am sad too though. I know it doesn't make sense to be sad to not be with him given what happened, but I miss him already. Or as my mum says, I miss the idea of him, as I don't miss whatever demon spawn was at my door." Another comment says, "I'm so glad you're okay, but please never open the door like that again, even with the chain on. It's still a huge risk. Those door chains aren't always secured with decent screws. The ones that come in the packet are usually short and useless and can be ripped out of the door with force. You can tell someone on the other side of the door that they're trespassing and you're calling the police by text message." Opie replies, "My mum, when I explained everything, looked at me like I had 3 heads when I said, 'Oh, but the chain was on, so,' and immediately hopped online and bought a Ring doorbell. I feel so naive. The only reason I have a chain is because I notoriously don't lock my doors when I first get to the place. My bestie hit the roof and got me a chain, and as we FaceTime regularly, she would always say to check the chain and make sure I locked it in the door when I was inside." One comment says, "Do you have an actual job besides writing, or is he literally paying for all your crap while you pursue your writing hobby? I mean, I would be sick of you too if you're bumming around all day making $0. Opie says, "Hi, yes, I work in non-profit management and state and federal grants. Last month I paid his electricity bill and late fees because his power was shut off. It cost $500. Is $500 enough for your sickness?" Yeah, that comment was downvoted, thankfully. Okie dokie, Opie makes a final update. "Holy hell, this blew up. I'm usually a Reddit lurker on anonymous mode, so I was overwhelmed in the best way to see all this love and support. It made me cry. Good tears, I promise. I cried most of my bitter ones a bit last night on my mum's shoulder. She was right. I don't miss him, but the version of him I thought he was, and so I choose to look forward. Mum and I stayed up and read comments together. She's not a Reddit gal, but loved all your messages and says she's happy to be the Reddit mum, lol. Mum made breakfast this morning and we were eating when there was a knock at the door. My mum held a hand up to halt me and got up herself to go to the door and ask who it was. Then I heard her say, 'You have 15 seconds to leave or you're going to be made to leave.' I got up to see Mum shouting through the still locked door, peeking through my peephole. There was someone on the other side talking back to her, but she just kept steadily counting down. By the time she got to 6, she had put her shoes on and was holding my broom. I'm not stupid. I knew it was him even then, but then my phone went off and I didn't reply. It was him again. He left flowers and an apology card, along with a stuffed owl bear. Mum asked me if I wanted to read the card, and I said I did. It basically was a long-winded apology admitting he was being an ass, but work has him stressed, and he underappreciated in general, and it all came out in a nasty way. He's so sorry. He should have given me space and respected me more, and he will never do it again. He didn't sleep last night feeling so much regret over what he did, and will do better, to please call. That he misses me, and let's not throw away 2 good years of foundation away over a stupid fight. I handed it to my mother, who read it, snorting and chuckling, "Here, I bet," to herself, and then stood up and went to the kitchen, returning with a trash bag and my cell phone. "What's the play, coach?" she asked, and just to freak her out, I took the phone and pretended to call the pizza shop. "Yes, Domino's, we need a pizza. Yes, I'm breaking up with my ex and we need to toss his crap out." All that to say, it's now evening. The sun is lower, and my neighbours are watching my house as I'm in my parents' pool in their backyard drinking margaritas with my sister and brother. Mum tells the story to all of them over and over. I had texted him. Quote, "Chris, we are done. All of the things you left at my place are in garbage bags on the porch. The neighbours have their camera pointed at the house, so please just take your stuff and go. Don't knock. I'm not in. If it's all there on Monday, it goes with the rest of the garbage to the curb." He replied asking if not home, where was I? But I won't be giving energy to this. I'll spend the weekend with my family, and I feel so lucky to have them. I've decided that I'll go for another book. For those asking for links to this book already out, sorry, but when Mum and I read the comments, she said, "Don't you dare put your name out there. They all seem lovely, but you don't know what others will do. And I feel like if I did, it would be like opening the door to Chris like I did last night. You were right, that was dangerous. But if you are looking to do something nice, I would be absolutely overjoyed if you did one or both of 2 things. 1, love yourself and truly know you deserve love and nothing less. And 2, buy books from a locally owned bookstore and buy art from the artist or commission an art piece, etc. The art world is wonderful, but also a struggle, and many aren't as lucky as I am to have a strong support system, so support yourself and your local artist. Thank you all. Yeah, here. Another edit. Sorry there are a lot of the same questions in the comments. 1. Yes, we were an interracial couple. I am black/indigenous/Middle Eastern, and he is Irish and French descent. 2. No, I don't want children. The moment I am eligible, I'll be getting that baby store shut down medically. I would adopt possibly someday, but I would not and should not be pregnant. 3. Chris and I were friends before we started dating, so I thought I knew him and his family well. 4. Mum has always been cordial with him, even if she didn't care for him. She did the whole mama thing of hugging him and feeding him, etc. 5. Yes, Mum will adopt you. She says she sends her heart to you and every hug you deserve and more. 6. Dad didn't come over because, and I quote, "You wouldn't have wanted me in a space that boy would also be in given what happened." So he stayed the course of his trip he went on. And 7. I intend to be an author, whether it be full-time or part-time. Oddly enough, my book sales are skyrocketing a lot online. Yeah, and I wish her all the best. And that's all from that story. Wow, what a great ending. I'm so glad she got rid of that guy and didn't succumb to his sucking up in that apology card. What about you guys? What are your thoughts about that one? Let me know down below and we'll move on to another one. Okay, we're jumping over to Petty Revenge. This one was written by user Guilty But Honest, and it's titled, "My gross dad started dating a girl younger than me, so I started dating a guy older than him. See how he likes it. My dad, 57, started dating Becky, 25, 4 months ago. For reference, I'm a 26-year-old, and my dad and mum, to note she's 54, divorced when I was 24, 2 years ago, and this is his first relationship to my knowledge since mum and dad separated. My dad has become the proverbial rich man dating young bimbo upgrade douchebag, and it's made my mum feel like yesterday's trash. Him and Becky have such an obvious transactional relationship that it's been making me question how he sees women. Like, what? Was he checking out my friends growing up? Is that something I have to worry about now? F you. I've tried expressing to him that their relationship makes me uncomfortable for every obvious frickin' reason, but he won't listen, and I'm tired of his blatant disrespect and dismissal of my feelings. So, if he sees no issue with it, then I guess neither do I. This weekend was Becky's birthday, and my dad threw a massive garden party for it with her bimbo friends, plus his friends and his business partners. All I'm sure so he could try and get his creepy buddies set up with her gold-digging friends. But you know what? Since that was the vibe, why wouldn't I join in on the fun? So what did I do? I found myself an older man and decided to bring him as my plus one. How old is he? He's 62, so let's just call him Old Joe. Only fitting if his girlfriend is younger than me that my new boyfriend be older than him. So the party starts. I'm on my best behaviour with him and all his friends, acting like I support it all when I leave to get my new guy because he just arrived. It was honestly art coming back up to him and all his friends sitting together at the main table, the birthday girl basically hanging all over him, to introduce them all to my old-ass boyfriend. I wish I took a photo of their faces. "What's wrong, Dad? You don't look so good." "Becky, you should get his heart medication. This party might be too taxing on him." And then I sat on old Joe's lap. I made sure to be as shameless as his new girlfriend. And yes, I felt disgusting doing it, but it was frickin' worth it to watch my dad basically throw Becky off of him, which ruined her special day. I cannot express how satisfying it was to watch him fume from across the table. But what was he going to say? And the best part? One of his partners knew old Joe. They were golf buddies. Ha ha. And before he could say anything to me, I made my exit with old Joe because he was, quote, taking me on a private boat ride and we didn't want to miss our port departure. And now he's calling me non-stop and I just keep sending him to voicemail, though I did text him about what ED medication he takes so I could recommend the brand to old Joe. At this point, I don't care how this affects our relationship because I'm disgusted with him and his choices. I'm satisfied with the payback and I hope he likes the taste of his own medicine. That is actually brilliant. Although I do wonder how she found this old Joe guy. Is he just some dude off the street? Either way, this is the perfect payback. And yeah, I think we can all agree that it's a bit creepy what the dad's doing here. Hope he makes an edit. To anyone asking about old Joe and claiming that I effed myself over in the process. 1. I never slept with him. I ditched him after we left the party. 2. He was in on the whole thing, but only because he thought it was kink-related and that he would be getting action afterwards, which was never the case. Yes, I did things I'm not proud of. I took advantage of the guy, but he thought he was going to be taking advantage of me, thinking I was an easy target because I had daddy issues, so I don't feel bad about that, or for him. I only slightly feel bad for myself because I sat on his lap. 3. I don't know why any of you are concerned over this guy. He was a creep. He willingly came to a party where he presumably knew no one there because he thought pissing my dad off was part of a kink game. He was weird, and in my opinion, I effed over 2 gross old men that day, so I pat myself on the back. And 4, sorry that I don't like the idea of my dad treating another human being as a sexual object and trying to throw that back in his face by making myself into that objectified person. And I have that opinion of their relationship because I'm watching it unfold in real time. If you saw them together, you'd understand where I'm coming from. He is handsy with her in public places and in front of me. And yes, she has a choice in this, but to play into that dynamic is also weird, and I feel bad that she's become so complacent in her own exploitation. That's sad. But if he wants to be with someone younger in a transactional relationship, clearly I can't stop him. But is it really so much to ask at his grown frickin' age to have some frickin' respect for your daughter and keep that crap out of my face and out of my life? I don't think so, but I guess that's just me. Phew, seems fair enough to me. What about you guys? Let's look at some final comments. My dad, late 40s, used to say he would trade my stepmother, 40s, for 2 20-year-old girls. She responded by saying, "Great idea. Throw a party. Your daughters, 20s, can invite their friends, and you invite yours, so your daughters can choose a boyfriend too." That shut him up really fast. Another comment adds, "Lamau, I did something like this. My dad was driving us around a city for my birthday, and we turned a corner and found a university. He said, 'Oh, that's why there's so many attractive girls. There's a college here.' I was turning 20, so I instantly leaned forward and asked him how he thinks about wanting to date girls that are his daughter's age. Also shut him up real quick. Editing to add, wow, the creeps came out in full force for this one. Too many people out here thinking it's okay for a 42-year-old man to try and get with an 18-year-old that is younger than his daughter just because the girl is legal. Free block list in the replies below. Honestly, I understand this. My dad has moments where he argued for a situation where I just look at him and go, oh, so it's okay if it happens to me? I just watch the life drain out of his eyes as he imagines it happening. Sometimes they need that shock of cold water in the face to see their actions as they are. Yeah, 100% agree. It seems bizarre that they'd have all these thoughts themselves and then not even consider it happening to their own daughters. Creepy stuff, man. Anyway, that's the end of that one. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.